Hey guys, welcome. Natalie Cutler-Welsh here. Welcome back to another episode of the Impact Entrepreneur series, where I get to hang out and interview amazing people doing amazing things. So today I'm talking to Charlene Greer. Hey Charlene.
Hi, Nat.
So we are starting off, this is season 2 of the Impact Entrepreneur series, where the focus is all about resilience and wellness. So today we're going to dive into the topic of emotions and understanding your emotions to raise your resilience and wellness. So before we dive into that, Charlene, I would love it if you could give everybody a little bit of background. Charlene and I have been friends for many years, maybe 4, and it's so exciting to have her here. So if you can give us a background about where have you come from and what are you up to at the moment?
Okay. Well, when I left school, I did nursing, and I learned very soon that illness model didn't sit comfortably with me. And so really since then, I've been very interested in wellness as opposed to illness. So I went on and did naturopathy. I worked as a childbirth educator while I had my own children. And then I did life coach.
4 children.
4 daughters, yeah. And so there's always been that theme of like wanting to help people to be well. And as I'm a midlife woman, I've started coaching midlife women. I have a business called Midlife Courage. And the thing that's really come up strongly for me is the emotions. And there's a saying out there from the beautiful Brené Brown where she says we spend the first half of our life really squashing our emotions. We don't get taught how to be with our emotions. Like, did your parents teach you how to be with your emotions? Did school? Did your place of worship? So it's like it wasn't okay to be emotional and to be with your feelings. So we spend the first half kind of hiding from them. And then in the second half, midlife moving forward, we look at healing from those emotions so we can truly be who we were always meant to be. So, that's a theme that I kind of comes up a lot with the women that I'm coaching.
And I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because emotions, can really help you to be well, like you said, and also to be more resilient in your life. Mm-hmm. So before we get into emotions too much, resilience, you guys, I would comment below if you guys are watching us on the Facebook Live or the replay, watching us on the recording, comment, what does resilience mean to you? And I imagine if everyone looks back, I know that when I spoke at my daughter's school last year, I talked about how everyone has a curveball moment, right? Where something happens you didn't see coming. It might be your parents get divorced, or it might be, like for us, it was the earthquake, or my son losing his hair, or whatever. It might be a big thing or a small thing. But we do have to a certain extent, I use the term, have dust yourself off ability. We have to have dust yourself off ability. We have to have the ability to pick ourselves up and keep going. But sometimes just soldiering on, and this is the interesting thing, right, is not the answer. Like actually acknowledging how do we feel, and how do we, and really processing those emotions, or else we just keep them inside and soldier on. It can be detrimental, right?
Yes, it can come out in other physical ways in our body.
So one thing I'd love to ask you about is so for example, today my daughter wasn't feeling well, and I messaged Charlene. I was like, hey, you're coming over to do this interview. Can you muscle test Ruby while you're here and just see what's going on? So, can you talk a little bit about, some tips or whatever for helping people figure out their emotions if they don't know much about it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, answering that question about resilience, I think what's fascinating as we come to midlife is that we have wisdom on our side. We have those experiences, and as you said, good and bad, and it's often the bad ones that we do build resilience. And I think it's just having that wisdom and resilience. And like I wake up every morning and have the intention that to go out there and be courageous and to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. I think like just making that intention that's going to how you're going to face your day. But I think as we get older, all those experiences is what builds resistance. Yeah,
that's right. And we can draw on that, the challenges.
But coming back to the emotional side, for me, I've realised, I've known for a long time that I'm an emotional eater. And so the way that I cope with my emotions is I ate. And so for me, it's like if I don't use food, then how do I start identifying with my emotions? And for me, it's been really getting in touch with my body, because like what were you saying this morning about emotions is motions in what we were saying.
Like if you don't process your emotions, they will process you.
That's right. That's right. So it's identifying, like kind of I do a check with my body. It's like a body barometer. And where am I, if I'm kind of feeling a bit sad, rather than going to food, it's like, where in my body do I hold sadness? Where in my body? Because it's all different. And as we talked about your daughter this morning, and because she had tummy stuff going on, I just thought, well, what's going on emotionally? And then, those emotional oils came up. The essential oils came up for her. So I think a big tip is checking out your body. And if someone said something to you and you're feeling upset, it's like, some people may get headaches and hold it in their head. I'm a great one for getting sore throats because I'm not saying what I want. I know my daughter, like Ruby, also processes hers in a tummy, so she'll get cramps and feel nauseous. It can be different. So really, identifying and checking out your body is definitely a big step.
Interesting concept, the body barometer that you called it.
Yes.
So for you guys, if you're watching, just have a think about that. I know that in the past, I'm huge on personal development. And at one point I was working with someone and they would be like, well, where are you feeling that in your body? And I would be like, I think, because I'm such a head person.
Yes,
I'm not an analytic, but I'm such a thinker. And I would be like, I think, and she's like, no, where do you feel it? I'm like, where do I feel it? Like, what do you mean? I couldn't, and so then I'd be like, in my heart, I think, so it's interesting. It's just like, allow yourself to find it in your body.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking before, like emotions is energy in motion. So where do we hold that energy? And I think the two words that have been really important for me are, where am I contracting in my body? Okay. Where am I going tight? That's normally where I'm holding something in. Whereas once I can identify the feeling, then I feel a lot more lighter. I feel a lot more expansive. So I really like, not talking about good emotions, happy, joy, and bad emotions like anger and sadness, but like what are the feelings that are contracting me, and what are, how can I be more expansive with them? I think I really like those two words in terms of, and you can identify with your body, like tension is holding in, if you've got tension, headaches, your throat, holding that energy in your throat and other areas. And for some people, like you talked about the heart, so we tend to go those kind of energy centers in our body. But I had someone the other day and it was her feet, her feet kind of, her toes got like this. And as we worked through, it kind of came up her body, but she was really, and if she's feeling kind of a bit in her head as opposed to grounded on the earth. So for her, it was always her feet that kind of gave her a signal that's the first part of the barometer.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. It's a good, even just planting that seed for you guys. So what we're trying to do with the Impact Entrepreneurs series, you guys, is share knowledge that people have or experiences that people have, so that you, the listeners, or anyone that you want to tag, like if you think, oh my gosh, this would really resonate for my friend who's going through a hard time right now, or like children and anxious children, that is such a huge topic. So like if you feel like this would help, just go ahead and tag them in a comment, because what we're trying to do is just raise conscious conversations around everyday issues that can actually really make things hard in terms of mental health and happiness, right? As well as resilience and wellness. So the body barometer, super interesting. Okay, what is another technique that people can do to either understand their emotions or to move through those emotions?
Okay, well, something that I've got into, because I have a service-based industry, people said to me it's quite good to have a product. And, thanks to Nat here, I got interested in the doTERRA essential oils, and they've become very much part of my business. And, I just so love the emotional oils. There's 6 roller bottle oils. They've been mixed with coconut oil. They're very safe. And there's a motivate, a cheer, a passion, a peace, a console, and a forgive. And I just have these in a little purse in my bigger carrier bag, and I just use them all the time. And I think I just love that, I used to think the essential oils, because we did study them a bit at Naturopath with the physical stuff that's going on, which they are, but every oil has an emotional side as well. So I just, they just complement my business so well. And for me personally, it just feels like the emotional oils have kind of helped move layers. Because it's like, as children, when we're younger, we're not processing our emotions. So it's kind of like we're putting layers on, we're putting barriers on, and we get protected in our heart when we're hurt and that sort of thing. So what the oils have done for me is it just feels like the layers are peeling away, which also kind of resonates with that midlife woman thing, like getting more in touch with who you really are, who you were really meant to be, who you were born to be. And, I just feel that the oils and peeling away those layers is just such a wonderful combination. And the fact that the oils do have an emotional side, and that truly has, not only in myself, I've seen it with my coaching women as well. They said it's just been wonderful, because it's not like you go into this big catharsis with the oils, like coaching people about their feelings. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to start crying because there's so much hurt there.
Once I start,
when am I going to stop, and stuff like that. And I just find the same with anger. We haven't taught how to be with anger, and I just think the oils are just kind of like that gentle unfolding, that going from contraction into a nice expansion, and they're just very gentle and they're fantastic.
I love what you said before about like there's no good emotions and bad emotions. And I was meeting with a group of women yesterday, and I said the same thing. We were talking about how I really want to encourage, especially my daughter, I want to encourage people to think you don't have to be happy 24/7. Like happy 24/7 is not the goal, right? Yeah. It's totally natural to, in the course of your week, to feel anger, sadness, anxiousness, whatever, happiness, all those things. But sometimes I think we need a little bit of help or tools or techniques, like what you're telling us today, to kind of understand how we feel, and then like to move through it, because we don't want to stay in anger for a week or two. We want to like process that, acknowledge it, but we don't want to just pretend it's not there, because I feel like that's where moving from resilience into wellness, that's where we compromise our wellness if we don't acknowledge it and process it.
Yeah. And I think also the language, I know we didn't have this down as one of the things we're going to talk about.
I love talking about language.
Yeah, me too. And I know for me, I have to start learning emotional words. Like we talk about happy and joy and anger and sad, but there's so many other emotional words. And so, I had this big thing when I thought, okay, I want more joy in our life. Who doesn't? But for me, it's like, what is joy? And that was just like too big an emotion to start processing, because I hadn't even identified what makes me happy. So it was like starting to notice happy moments in my life during the day. What does happy feel like? And for me, I started getting that, butterfly kind of feeling in my tummy. And from there, I was able to then increase my awareness to go, oh yeah, this is what joy feels like. So two things there is just go gentle and just start with those easier emotions that we know, but then also increase your language around emotions. And I know on my website, I think you can get a freebie of a list if it's about 100 emotional words. So you can start exploring with getting some language to start describing how you're feeling. I think it's really important.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's so important. Definitely. I think sometimes people, and even on the flip side, people can be like, I'm so frustrated. And sometimes it's not that strong. Like, it can be like, actually, I'm a little discontent, So I know Tony Robbins talks about that as well. Sometimes we can bring down the power of the word, of the feeling, by choosing a different word, just by having a bigger vocabulary around it.
Yeah,
that can definitely help.
It was interesting when I did my coaching course, one of the men, he said, gosh, Charlene, you use that word good a lot. And I think as women we do. How are you? I'm good. And so I just decided to increase the volume a bit. And every time I go to say good, I'd say, I'm feeling great. And then I was able to increase it. Whereas now I can say, I feel fabulous. I feel fantastic. I feel incredible. I feel amazing. And I very rarely use that word good. Because good is kind of
good's like fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's like meh, like it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And
I think a lot of even that question. Hey guys on the Facebook Live, awesome to see you, Melinda, Ann, Olivia, Tracy, Tanya. It's interesting because a lot of people today, it's like, hey, how you going? Oh, I'm fine, right? People will say, I'm fine, or they'll do the other, the B word. They'll be like, I'm busy, and I always say, oh, good busy or bad busy? I know, I love it because and people, they go, oh, good busy, I guess. And it's interesting. It makes them stop and think. So, I do want to move away from the B word, but I invite you guys, if someone says to you busy, I invite you, you can use it, you can have it. Say to them, oh, good busy or bad busy, and see what they say.
And I think also like coming up with the word, if you don't use busy, and so I decided this year I wasn't going to use the word busy, and if people asked how I felt, and so I was saying expensive. I feel expensive. Didn't feel right. And I've kind of walked through that. Yeah, full and rich.
Oh.
Yeah, and we were at a talk, I was at a talk the other night, night and we were talking about this, and it's like, just imagine if everyone said, I feel like my life is full and rich, as opposed to, oh, so busy.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
quite
that thing
different energy.
About what you focus on. Like, I love what Charlene was saying before, is find the moments in your day that bring you joy. So similarly, it's like, find those micro moments in the day. And I remember I was chatting with someone and they go like, what just makes you feel so happy? I'm like, honestly, holding my boy's hand. Like, he's 8, and just like holding his hand on the way. And I just try so hard to cement that into my memory, because I know it's going to grow and he's going to think that's not cool anymore. But even like the other thing that just melts my heart is watching my kids together, like when they're not fighting. So like, we have this really awesome swing chair here. You might've seen it in my photos, but sometimes they'll like sit on there together, or maybe on watching the iPad, but still they're together and they're not fighting. Yeah. Or when they're playing, like Xavier's playing Lego by himself in the corner. So it's like, see those moments, really feel those moments. And for me, I am a lot of the time in my head. I am a lot of the time thinking of the next thing, you know? So for me to do that, it helps me be really present.
Definitely.
Which is one of my goals. Yes, it is not one of my talents at all.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think a lot of us, as a way of have learned not to process our feelings, we do go to our head. So we have to learn to stay in our heart and drop down, lean into those feelings. Because I think a lot of people that's even listening, they'll agree that, you know, we go to our head when we start feeling something.
So we're going to move on to your third tip.
Yes,
before we do, I know that, so in this kit, so, you know, these are the oils, this is the size they are, but can you talk about this? Because I think that's a good little tool.
So it's a little wheel that it's broken. It's broken the oils down into different, you know, like you can get the tree oils, you can get the flower oils, and it's the flower oils that really, really work with our emotions. So they've broken they've broken them down into whether they're the mints, the citruses, the spice oils, and what emotions, like the tree oils are always grounding. For people that have got anxious feelings, they need tree oils. The citrus, so many people love the citrus oils. They are uplifting. And as I say, it is the flower oils, you know, the rose, the magnolia, the Roman chamomile, all of them, they really help you get in touch with your emotions. And I've discovered now I'm really loving the rose oil, but I often don't put a lot of it on before I'm teaching, because I just always cry. You know, things that are kind of close to my heart, I get really tearful. And I'm not saying I'm not trying to do that. If it happens, that's fine. But, you know, when you're taking a class, you also got to kind of don't want to get into a lot of, it's not the time to be processing a lot of tears. So, but I love that wheel in terms of how the oils can relate to different emotions that are going on.
Let's talk about the third thing, which I think is another B word. So what is something else that people can do?
Well, I think the last thing, and this I think for a lot of women is, and it kind of relates to the words, but about our boundaries and putting ourselves first. Like, you know, as a mother, it's like often we get the last of the pile. So learning to say no and to get really clear around our boundaries and putting ourselves first, that is such a difficult thing for women to do. And that brings up a lot of emotions like guilt. How much time do we waste feeling guilty as mothers? So, you know, just trying to get clear around your boundaries and practice saying no. Like I often practice in the mirror with any of these things that are new to me. I stand in front of we've got a big mirror in our bathroom, and I just go, no, you know, and I just wanted to always have an excuse. No, because blah, blah, blah. My husband used to say, you don't need an excuse. Just say no. Men are quite good at saying no, but women, we have to learn it. So I think, you know, start practicing about saying no, because that's going to, once again, that you have an emotional reaction to that. And, you know, really watch those feelings of feeling guilty. And it's, you know, we are going to feel guilty, but let yourself, it's kind of like you let yourself have it and then move on. You don't kind of dwell in it, because as we know, that 6-second rule, that any of those feelings, your inner critic starts after 6 seconds. Your inner critic's going to come in and they're going to start telling you you know, if you say no, then
they're going to think you're rude, or they're going to think you're
not good enough, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, say no, and then in 6 seconds time move on, so that you don't, you know, get that inner coach activated and I deserve this. I deserve to have an hour out on my own. I deserve to go and get my nails. Getting my nails, which I've just taken off my nail polish, but getting my nails done was a big one. It felt decadent to spend $80 but I loved it.
I think personally, it's like if we can replace guilt with gratitude,
yes,
that is a massive shift, you guys, for your resilience and your wellness. So you
Definitely.
often will hear me say things like, I don't do guilt. Like, I do not do guilt. Why? Because I do the flip side, which is empowered choices. So I don't mean I do whatever I want. I don't care what people think. But I mean, choices I make and things I do, the way I spend my time and money, my energy, is coming from a place of intention, not like defiance, but intention. And then therefore, I don't feel guilty about the fact that I'm not driving my son to his practice because the other mom is more than happy to do it and it's on her way and she's going to go to the shops or whatever. Like, so I don't do guilt. Guilt is such a killer, you guys. Guilt is a killer. Don't do it, because then you hold it inside, right? And it'll eat you alive. So just
I disagree a little bit. Don't do guilt, but like if you are feeling guilty, your guilty is giving your body information. It's normally you're feeling guilt because
let's explore that.
So like acknowledge I'm feeling guilty, but don't hang on. Like you're right, don't stay in that place of guilt. It's really not serving. But if you're feeling guilty, go, oh yeah, well this is letting my body know, and that something's going on for me around my needs not getting met or putting myself first or whatever.
So as a life coach, okay, so what do you find, or what have you found when people decide they do want to firm up their boundaries and they do want to stand stronger and be more empowered, and they get that pushback? What is it? How can they stay strong?
Well, as I say, for me, is I just do one, go, I think some people count back from 5, but I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just change the talk in my head. And even as I am, I am fabulous, I am fantastic, I am, as soon as I get to that, and, those 6 seconds, they say we start going into fear and all the reasons why we're not good enough and those sorts of things. So I just try and change my language and that, and also practicing in front of the mirror. And that can be really confronting, just even standing in front of this mirror.
We're going to do it right afterwards.
And just, tell yourself all the things that that you're good at, and start making those lists. And of course, gratitude. Like gratitude has just been a huge game changer for me.
Yeah, that's right. Be grateful for what is going well instead of pointing the finger and complaining about what's not going well. Hey, we could talk about this all day.
We could.
But my little guy, he's calling me. So we're going to go out of a place of empowered intention. So thank you for joining us, you guys. I can see Karen and Peru also on the Facebook Live. For you guys on the Zoom call, please do comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your tools? What are the things that you use to acknowledge and to process your emotions? Thank you so much, Charlene. So Charlene talked about the body barometer. She talked about the essential oils, and she talked about boundaries. How can people find you if they want to learn more or get in touch?
Well, at the moment, I have my website, which is just midlifecourage.co.nz. That's probably the easiest way. Or you can just email me, charlene@midlifecourage.co.nz. But probably the biggest way is Messenger. I love getting messages, and it's so quick, it's Facebook. So easy. That's
awesome.
What I do.
Cool. Hey, so we're going to wrap things up. I always ask people this in my interviews. So it is, Charlene, is there any cause or charity or organization you want to do a little shout out to, shine the light on?
Well, Helping Hands is one of the initiatives that doTERRA do. I love that they have a couple of products where all the money goes into a pool, and then that pool gets distributed. We can do that around New Zealand now because we have a warehouse. So we've already given to domestic violence, we've given to mental health, we've given to help support what went on down in Christchurch. I just love buying my regular oils that I know is going towards the Helping Hand.
Healing Hands.
Healing Hands. And I know that I'm also going to be doing something towards helping with the suicide rate in New Zealand that's affected me personally, and just knowing that that's one of your passions as well. That's definitely to help lower the suicide rate in New Zealand is a biggie for me as well. Still exploring that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we are wanting to do is not just lower that rate, but raise the resilience, right? Raise the emotional intelligence and awareness.
Yeah, that's the big one.
And helping people to have a higher level of mental health and happiness. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. We'll catch you next time on Impact Entrepreneurs.
Thanks, Nat.
See you.